What makes hiring successful?
You just have to make 500 dials. Hey, this doesn't work. And it's like, well, no, it does, because we've made millions of dials. We know it works.
Hey, Craig, let's get into some coffee talk.
Hey, I love it. I love doing some coffee talk.
Well, talk about what?
Dogs, daughters, whatever. It's coffee talk.
Coffee talk.
What is up, Mr. J?
Ooh, Mr. Craig. We just did a couple interviews.
Yeah. Did I just do that thing? Like, remember when your mom would get mad at you? And then Eddie Murphy talks about it, where your mom would be all mad at you screaming, and then the phone rings and she's like, hello, and everything's fine. You're like, how did you just do that? Like,
Yes.
I was just like blowing my nose.
Yes.
And I might have the COVID, who knows? And then just, hey, Jason. I just did it. I pulled a mom.
Yeah, you went into like
Showtime.
gangster audio mode. Yeah.
Showtime.
Well, you got the little cool sign blinking behind you, and
Yeah.
they got
I
a
do.
little studio going now. They got some
Yeah,
nice lights.
I got to move it down.
Your lights.
It's the license plate and the lights are top of each other. So I need to get another nail.
I see oods. I don't
Yeah.
see anything else. Oods.
Oh, well, the camera's way over there, and I'm afraid that it will lose the feed if I turn it. You know how it does that with this particular
Yeah.
software we have?
Right. So this morning, you
Yeah.
had a bunch of software issues. You haven't been feeling good. Then you jumped into hours of computer work, and we kind of conquered and divided what we needed to do. And I jumped into the Elite meeting, and we talked a lot about hiring.
Right. I wasn't in the elite meeting because,
Right.
yeah.
That's why I'm talking to you about it now.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I'm just going to catch you up on it.
Thank you.
We ended up talking a lot about hiring and a couple of the key factors. Like, I know we talked about this a few weeks ago on
Yeah.
a coffee talk, but I didn't have success with my last hire. Hired one person. I said that got to hire more than one the next time. Hire 3-to-1 ratio, right? We dove into what makes hiring successful. And one of the things was figuring out a way to onboard without it costing so much. One of the things we talked about is having people do transfers, like getting on the phones for at least half the day. So if they're taking
Yes.
the license, the other half of the day, get on the phones. And if have somebody at $15 an hour and they get 4 transfers for half the day, so that's one an hour.
$100.
Then you're at
$300.
$30 a transfer, which
Yeah.
isn't bad, right? You'd pay
Yeah.
that anyways
Right.
for an insurance transfer. So if that happens and the other half of the day they're studying, then you just broke even, let's say, if it doesn't
Right.
work out. So now it's less of an expense.
Make them subsidize your marketing spend.
Yeah. And in that, doing that transfer, it's the whole it's not like talking to a friend where it's like, hey, do you want a quote? It's the whole moving them forward. And if they can
Right.
get that concept down, then they're going to be a good agent. Or if they can't get it down and they can't make the dials, then hey, well, maybe we shouldn't get you licensed.
Right. Exactly. That whole thing is so important because a lot of folks will bring in the person and then get them all knowledgeable about the insurance, right? Like, you're doing the wrong thing first because you don't know if this person is going to perform yet. So why spend all the resources, time and money on this 2-month thing if we don't know if they're even going to be able to do what they need to do?
Right.
Yeah.
100%. And then the other thing that got brought up was, it's funny because I think we all kind of shared the same experience that when you bring someone in, I would say 99% of people, you get them on the phone, you give them a little bit of a script. 3 hours later, they made 20 phone calls because they're studying and they're practicing and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, dude, it takes 30 seconds to get to that voicemail.
And that's
Technically,
being
you can make 120.
really liberal. Like, that's giving a lot of cushion right there. Yeah.
Right. So they could make 120 phone calls an hour. It's more important for them to make the calls and fail fast than it is for them to study, because you get into one of two modes. Either you build, and they definitely have to have it in them to begin with, but you also have to set the precedence of what the pace that we're working at. Because those first few weeks set the pace for the way they're going to work for the next 3 months or the next 3 years. And I've almost had this conversation with everybody that's come into the office is they come in, they start to do this stuff, and then they barely get on the phone. Oh, I didn't get the transfers, or I didn't get the quotes, or whatever it is. And it's like, dude, you only made 25 phone calls. Like, guaranteed you're going to fail. Like right now, there's no chance you're ever going to have success. All the numbers that we talked about that you could hit and you could make, and the numbers, like, there's just no chance. So either we have to do these drastic changes, and it makes sense mathematically, but you got to call. Right now, I know you're afraid to get on the phones, but let's do it. And really pushing the person to get on the phones and fail fast it's really the key.
Yes. Yeah. They'll go to that, like the call reluctance, and then, for lack of a better word, their future trip into failure. They go, well, it's kind of like sometimes the telemarketers will say it to you. It was mostly voicemails and not answers. And it's like, yes, we know that, right? It's 90% that. And so in their head, they made 25 dials. They didn't get a hold of anybody. This is not a good experiment for them in their mind, right? Because it's painful to do anyway. So it's easy to make an excuse like, hey, this doesn't work. And it's like, well, no, it does, because we've made millions of dials. We know it works, right? You just have to make 500 dials. And then you're going to get a hold of 30 to 50 people, right? So it's important, I think, to set that expectation, and not just on day one, but also in the interview, because I'd rather scare them and make them not want to work here before they even start than to bring them on and then surprise them with, hey, by the way, you're going to be dialing today, right? Like, that's just part of the thing. You're going to dial. So it's interesting. I think in the interview, it's this like back and forth dance between selling them on how awesome it is, because it can be awesome and they can make a lot of money, right? I mean, I have one of my producers making over 7K, 8K a month. So you can make a lot of money, but it requires a lot of hustle. And so then you kind of talk them out of it. So attract them, then talk them out of it, attract them, then talk them out of it. And then we always will reject them too. So if you're going to have an interview here, you're going to be told that it's probably not a good fit. And it's just part of the thing, because we want to see how tenacious they are on the comeback, right?
Yeah. It's kind of like the fail fast. When they come in the agency, fail fast. But honestly, we have to diagnose fast.
Yeah.
Because the way I used to run it was horrible. They'd come in, they'd go through all the training and all this stuff. Well, I wouldn't even get them on the phones for 3-4 weeks.
Right.
Try to teach them everything about insurance. Next thing you know, they get on the phones a month later, they suck because they just got trained that they don't have to do much in the agency except study. And then it's like, then the next month, so month 2 becomes trying to break those habits and build sales monster, which doesn't happen. Month 3, you're like regretting the decision, and should I hire somebody else?
Right.
And then you got to start the whole process over again. By month 4, it's just unreal how inefficient that can be.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
We have to cut down the inefficiencies because it's really the biggest expense in the agency, besides leads.
Yeah, totally, man. I mean, yeah, my newest one, we did that very thing last week, and then it would be the transfer. Then she'd go sit with them. We gave her admin so she could listen to the calls. So she would sit next to them after she made the transfer to listen to the quote, watch the screen, kind of see everything that's going to get an understanding of what it will be, right? It paints the picture of, I'm not going to be doing this side of it forever, but it's something that they grind their teeth with. So it shows.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
I just said, don't go into vendors and start deleting things.
Right. Reroute phone calls.
Don't change the routing, but it's just so they can listen, right? You have to. So yeah, pretty cool. That worked out well.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. And it's really thinking outside the box. So the way old Jason would think was, wow, like if you hire someone new, it takes 2 or 3 months of all this expense to figure out if they're good or not. But really think about how, kind of with all your marketing, think about how you can break even faster on the front end, because the less of a cost it is on the front end, the faster you can grow, the easier it is to, it won't cost you. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to convince anybody that costing that, but that's why we do the transfers or do something to subsidize the cost so that it's not a cost anymore. It's whatever.
Yeah. Whatever. Let's just drop the whatever mic. I love it.
Yeah.
That is some knowledge nuggets from Mr. Jason.
Some hiring talk. I thought that was it's a fun talk.
HT.
Fun to think about.
Yeah, some HTs.
Yep.
So
some HTs, drop it.
Yeah. Don't forget to click that subscribe button, and you're going to get some awesome stuff that I'm not going to tell you about because you already know. And that's a coffee talk.
That's coffee talk.
Beep, beep.
Hey, Jason.
Yes, Mr. Craig.
That was another awesome episode, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if people want to get a little bit more action and learn how to do write 100,000 in premium
Yes.
off of even the worst internet leads, where could they go?
They can go to live.teledudes.com.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. Are we going to be there?
Yes, it's a weekly call that we're doing right now it's live, and it will show you the process. The entire process is super awesome.
I love it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Sign up right now, live.teledudes.com.
Live.teledudes.com. That's live.teledudes.com.
Hey, Craig, there's a new community that we are starting that I cannot wait to tell everybody about. It is our live texting community where you and I are going to answer people's questions and give them free content, right?
Are you kidding me? We get to talk to them?
Yeah, which is awesome, but they have to opt in. They have to text us at 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
Nice.
Craig, are you going to respond to these texts?
I'm going to respond to them for sure. Live.
I'm into it too. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be our new texting community where we're going to get back to everybody that we can and drop some crazy content, free content, and free the calculator that you just came up with. That's right. The calling calculator, sales material. I mean, everything for insurance agents. This is it. It's the best texting community out there for insurance agents.
Well, what the heck is that number again? I can't remember it.
It's 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
I love it. I'm going to text it right now.
520-214-2219.
All right. I'll see you later, Mr. Jason.
Bye, Mr. Craig.
Wait, do they even listen to this on the radio anymore?
I love it. I love it.
Nice.
All right.